Hey guys, how's it going? My name is Deadly Spark and welcome back to Ultimate Epic Battle Simulator 2. Now today, we are doing Romans plus some Spartans versus some more or less entrenched soldiers with stationary artillery on the cliffs which can fire across the cliffs and will also then be the back line for when they get up the hill, and then the whole forces defending that one way up with some shotguns down the bottom for additional defense. Let's see how they go. Oh, that's not good. With that little kerfuffle out the way, let's begin properly. And they're off, with the artillery immediately firing and doing some damage. Look at them go. They'll get some shots in while they're at the top, but once they are down, the stationary artillery will be out of the picture. But for now, they're laying in some important bombardment on the enemy forces, which are quite stacked up together. Look at them go. Boom, boom, boom. Bang. I love seeing the forces get absolutely flung into oblivion. I probably should have increased the amount of soldiers there are, but that would mean they'd be up here for longer and they'd get pummeled for longer. Tell you what, those shotgunners can fire from a long way. This is an interesting choice, I might add. That shot, and they're getting fired from dead. Oh my god, no wonder they're flying down the hill. That's incredible. Oh, this is definitely potential thumbnail material. Look at this. They're flying all the way down. I think the generals are the only ones really surviving. I don't know why they're deciding that this is the best way down, because they're tumbling and getting shot at the same time. Look at them. This is the place to be for viewing, that's for sure. They've definitely decided, and they get down here, and then they climb back up to climb back down. At least soldiers are smart, and they're pouring from over there. They've definitely cleaned up the shotgunners pretty quick, though. The generals absolutely making this look easy. They're not making it look easy. And we got generals. Generals? No, Spartans. Spartans are the only ones that came from that way, I guess? Yep. That's it. The stationary artillery, they still can fire, right? Are they still going? Surely. There's no way there's ammo to these things. Oh yeah, they can still fire. They just decided to give them a break, I guess. Oh, here they go. They've started making it up to the funnel. This is where the tanks give their support, and the stationary artillery can attack from here. It's definitely changed the direction they're choosing to fire in, which is good for the forces that are stuck on the cliffs. This should be a pretty simple defense from our defending forces. With the tank support anyway, and quite a lot of gunfire, but maybe this isn't enough. There's still a lot on the way. Maybe I need to double the amount of soldiers. They are spaced at 2, so I could space them at 1 with double the forces and take up the same space. So there is that. I thought maybe the spacing would help with their defense. I can't tell if it's getting easier for them or not. I think as less generals appear, the easier it gets, because the generals are just standing here face tanking bullets. And there's 10,000 of them they need to get through. I wouldn't be surprised if quite a lot are being gotten through, but there's still plenty running up these hills. You know, play spot the general. I see one. I see a couple, actually. He's still having fun on the cliffs, but at least they're not getting bombarded now. It's a pretty decent shot, actually. Yeah, it's definitely getting harder and harder for the soldiers to, or the melee soldiers, I should say, to actually get up and do anything like reasonable. They're still pushing, but it seems like on the left side they have no hope. That, or just the Romans have a tendency to attack on the right, which is leaving them open to barrages. Let's see. Ah, this is a bunch of archers. I was wondering why there was like a visible line of people. These archers, they're going to be doing big work. They're going to be the biggest asset towards the Romans here. Because they're not quite getting into melee anymore. As the this is actually a pretty good view at ground level here. We've got the tank support. We've got the stationary artillery support, which, I mean, if I could set the AI to do specific things, I'd be having the stationary artillery just being like, boom. Just doing distance attacks. Look, they're gone. Just constantly targeting them. But this is still pretty cool. Do the tanks have line of sight? I think they do. I think they're taking shots. If the Germans behind are taking shots, and they are. Oh yeah, look at this. Well, they've been attacked too. Oh, and the archers are attacking these, which are weak. That's smart. That's what I'd be doing. And still quite a lot of them. Unfortunately, I don't think these have been played much in the battle because of the terrain, which you can't really see when you're setting up the battle. Look at them still up there, deciding that the best course of attack is rolling. There is quite a bit of a mess down here, though I think about 50% of this mess was the stationary artillery, because they're only collapsing here and over there. Now let's get back to the battle before we miss too much. They are snaking their way up here. And they are making progress. Let's see what ground level looks like over here. Pretty good, actually. It doesn't look good. It didn't look as cool over here. The shotgunners, I think, are doing a lot of the work because not as many are coming from here. Though their pellets probably spread quite a bit by the time they actually threaten. Man, look, you can see the shotgun pellets absolutely flying all over the place. It's getting a lot more intense here. Let's see. Standard Roman soldiers by the looks of it now. I don't think there's many more generals left. Let's see if we can play spot the general. I don't see any, actually. Maybe you guys can. Comment down below with the timestamp. How many archers are left? The archers have seriously dwindled. I wonder if it's just the constant bullets that's dwindled them, or if the artillery and tanks wiped them. Because this was actually looking like it was going to be comfortable for the Romans for a bit. But they've just settled into their defense. And this is becoming a much more defensible position. Like, we're talking about doubling them before. Maybe we need to double them. Who knows? Just simply by the amount they're split, that's their biggest disadvantage. Though they are piling up quite here. This seems to be the great separator of the soldiers. As you get up higher and higher, they split up more and more. And some of them are going here for the shotgunners. The shotgun soldiers. And some of them are dying. Definitely pretty intense. Woo. Lots and lots of death. Whoa. Explosive fire from those artillery and tanks is intense. They're getting pretty close in this section. Seems to be where they're concentrating their attack. The middle not going well for the Romans. But about here, they're still getting there, and the Spartans are really doing work once they get up close. Still, the biggest threats, I reckon, are these tanks. Without any threat from the archers, it's just wreaking havoc. And let's see what we can do if we grab ourselves a Spartan. Can we get close enough to do anything significant? Oh, that one's firing down below. Oh no, it's just... Yeah, like... Oh no, he hit me, damn it. I got right up to him though. You know, funnily enough, it seems like despite how much weaker they look on this side in terms of their grouping, they've been able to push further. And I wonder if it's in part due to the lack of fire from the shotgun soldiers. Oh wow, they actually got quite far over here. But they're not pushing here anymore because they're not close enough to be an aggro. Look at them. They're all streaming across here now, which is going to absolutely finish this line of soldiers. I reckon. Maybe it won't. I mean, I've spoken too soon before, but that's looking like an absolute stream of Spartan shields coming up this way. Yeah, the absolute support from these Germans, though. Not taking any hits and just lighting them up from afar. Cannot be understated. Any archer build up yet? They were at their best when they were lined up right here. And they're not here anymore. How many are going up this way instead? Not as many. They're still getting there a little bit. Every now and again they just push a little bit further. The archers did some damage. How are they looking? Ooh, that's not good. That's not good for the prospects of the Romans. How are they looking here as well? Not great. They're still getting bombarded. That'd be hilarious if they were. Ooh. A lot of death happened over here. You can see with the circles of death. A lot of these died though. And they're definitely focused. I mean, for fun you can... Oh, that's a bad miss. Let's see if we can... Oh, I hit something though. Yeah. Their accuracy is pretty putrid. There's a lot of protective fire down here though. You don't really get shot at for quite a bit now. Unless you get hit by artillery that misses over here and they hit you over there. That's a bit unfortunate. They don't even have line of sight. Oh, some of them are peeling off a little bit over here. Oh, is that a general? No, it's a Spartan. Yeah, generals are gone to sleep. Forever. I don't think there's many of them left. They would have streamed ahead. There's actually a couple of archers building up. Still not pushing far over here. How about over here? Did they end up get close enough? No, they can't quite get close enough. It's like there's like a point of what's the word I'm looking for? There's a point they get to pretty much where they can't get any further, almost. Where it just they have to travel X distance and they have X amount of health and these do X amount of damage over a course of time. And the time they take to cross here is getting to a point where like their health isn't enough to exceed the amount of damage they're doing. So they're able to push over here like for X amount of time. Let's say it takes what 20 seconds to get across and they have 200 health. If they do 200 damage in 20 seconds, they can't get any further than that point roughly if every shot hits. There's always the variables where some of them get up closer because of missed shots, but then they like die instantly. But it seems like it's getting towards that point. Like the stream of soldiers is getting quite minuscule now. I mean, look at this. They had a build up, now they don't. It's also getting to that point where there's not enough soldiers to block attacks. Like Roman soldiers, I should say. And that's another big factor as well. But yeah, there gets to a point where they can't do anything. There's too much ground for them to cover. They did actually way better than I expected them to. Especially considering initially because I mean, I guess that's another thing. It always looks like that. Like at first I thought I made a mistake, like of how many they were getting through really quickly, but it was the distance they were covering by how much damage they were taking. Like they were able to cut through half of them in no time, and then like an eighth of them in triple the time it took to take out the other half. They end up being more effective against those shotgunners than anything else. And at some point, I'm just going to have to send them on the attack to just finish those idiots. Let's see, we might as well do that now. Whoa. Up, please. Oh, wrong team. Here we go. Go on the attack. Let's finish them off in style. That was actually, all in all, a pretty decent fight. You could probably balance it by reducing the amount of Germans. I think that would almost do enough, because that's quite a bit of DPS that's completely untouchable because of the tanks in front of them for a long time. Whereas, like, in reality, there was, like, a lot of... Like, they couldn't even get through the soldiers. But you reduce the DPS from the Germans, and then they might... Like, that... Again, that damage that they're doing over a period of time, the Spartans will be able to travel further. They'll be able to eat into that assault attack quicker. They get to the tanks faster, potentially. Like, there's all sorts of little variables you have to consider, and why it's so hard to get a perfectly balanced battle is that, like, just changing the DPS does so much more than the amount of damage output. Because they're doing... Again, if you take that, you know, they travel 20 seconds over that period, and in 20 seconds they do 200 damage and they have 200 health. If you take away, like, half the Germans, that might be, like, 50 damage, which means they're doing, like, 150 damage over 20 seconds per se, which means over that 20 seconds they can travel further with their 200 health. And that means they'll be more effective with their attacks, which means they'll deal more damage quicker, which means the defending force will then overall be doing less damage, which means they'll get that further bit of travel as well. And it's just a snowball effect of if you just tweak it too much, all of a sudden it's in the favor of the attacking side, because they just have enough health to keep doing enough damage to keep reducing the total DPS of the group, so that they can constantly be pushing into the attacking force. The tanks would be the wall. If they could push to the tanks, then it would be more balanced, because the tank would be the stopper for the defending force to keep defending, and they'd have to then get through the tanks. If they got through the tanks, they pretty much win. But that's more or less why a simple change can completely change the whole battle. Like in not the last one we did, but the one before that, where we changed the stationary artillery. Just changing that one factor completely changed everything else, because it was the amount of DPS they were putting out. And that was just a DPS factor. But for here, like, crossing over that became no man's land. And if you control no man's land, you win. Look at the forces streaming down now. There's not much left in the hills. Oh, we came just in time to see the artillery, who now have swapped back to firing here, absolutely obliterate the hill. That was beautiful to watch. Well, there's not many left now. We'll just watch them tumble down the hill to their final demise. That's a devastating force right there. Look at him slide. 67, 60, yep, gone. Not a lot. Oh, they're actually getting there. Are they going to kill one more? Do it. Kill one more. Yes, they did. They killed one more. Can you do it? Go on, do it. Do it. One more. He did it! What a legend. Well, there's two left somewhere. I don't know where. I don't think the soldiers know where either. At least they don't know yet. Up here probably somewhere. Wow, look at all the death up here. And this wouldn't have just been... This would have been from the artillery bombardment. There's two left. I don't know where they are, and I don't think they know either, so they're not... Oh, no, they are moving. Yeah, they're moving out. Yep, there they go. Where are they going? And where... Oh, some sold... Huh? That's actually a path? Up? Whoa, 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 whoa. They got sent. Wow, look at that. Wow, that actually is a path. No wonder they're taking it. If they can walk up there, they're gonna run down. Interesting. Well, that was definitely an interesting battle. Well, let's take a look at the carnage, for one. We have this whole force here. Obviously, we had no man's land. But look at this. You can see the carnage of the bombardment. You can see this place it hit. Like, this was clearly one of the first attacks that hit. Same back here. You can just see the blood circles on the bodies, where like they just absolutely got pelted. Quite a few seem to get hit here. Quite a few down here. The whole way down nearly, they actually were firing pretty much down here too by the looks of it. Probably because of that one depression in the hill there they could fire down into. But over here was the real stomping ground for the stationary artillery. They just built up here and they kept getting pummeled and pummeled and pummeled. I mean, look at that. It's just like, as like someone went to get their back cupped. That's the furthest hit by the looks of it, all the way up here. Absolute carnage. That stationary artillery did work across the cliffs. Absolutely beautiful to watch. A lot of carnage here, a lot of death, but I think a large majority of this, though, I think, well, at least I can definitely attribute half of it to stupidity. A lot of this would definitely be in the stationary artillery blasting, because they were gathered here, and they would have just been sent everywhere. I mean, just seeing the amount of build-up here from it, certainly that's a lot of build-up too. Down there, definitely half of that's normal attack, but then we get across to this side, and we can see the reality of the situation where they pushed so far, but it clearly became like a no man's land. The interesting thing is what happens sometimes with this as well, is that it becomes no man's land, and then it gets to the point of, where they can't get any further at all. And then it builds up a complete barrier of bodies, and all of a sudden there's a new defensive line where they can push without being attacked, and then they go over the top of it and can keep pushing further. That's definitely an interesting phenomenon that I've noticed as well. If you've got a big enough attacking force, their bodies will be the defensive line that eventually builds up. And it can change the game suddenly on you out of nowhere without you even thinking it could have happened. But I think for now, we'll leave the video here. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to hit the like button. If you enjoy this content and want to see more, feel free to subscribe and leave a comment on what battles you want to see in the future. But for now, I'll see you in the next video. Bye!